And next up, we have Idaho's DEI spending in universities nearly triples, and it sparks debate. This comes from the Idaho Freedom Foundation by Anna Miller and Scott Yaner. In a revealing analysis by the Idaho Freedom Foundation, Idaho's public university system has seen a dramatic increase in spending on diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, administrators. The report, authored by Anna Miller and Scott Yaner, highlights a surge from approximately $2.2 million in 2022 to nearly $6 million in just 2 years. This near tripling of DEI administrative costs has sparked a conversation about DEI initiatives' role and financial impact within Idaho's higher education institutions. DEI, criticized as a diverse ideology, categorizes individuals based on immutable characteristics, creating a binary of oppressed and oppressor groups. The report argues that such practices not only divide, but also detract from the educational mission of these institutions. The investigation found that Idaho's 4 public universities employ 75 administrators dedicated to DEI, with strategic plans and offices specifically focused on these initiatives. Despite legislative efforts to curb the expansion of DEI and social justice ideologies in higher education, universities have reportedly accelerated their DEI efforts, often in defiance of legislative directives. This has led to a complex situation where university officials publicly deny a DEI mission while simultaneously expanding DEI infrastructure. Boise State University stands out as the leading DEI institution in the state, with a vice provost for inclusion and belonging who commands a 6-figure salary. BSU's DEI staff, the largest among Idaho's universities, plays a significant role in university operations, influencing hiring policies, student recruitment, and offering an increased number of DEI-related training and events. The University of Idaho has also made significant commitments to DEI, establishing a Council of Diversity and Inclusion and dedicating substantial resources to implementing its DEI mission. U of I's Chief Diversity Officer is the highest-paid DEI administrator in the state, earning a 6-figure salary. The report suggests that while currently optional, DEI training may become mandatory as DEI infrastructure matures. In contrast, Idaho State University and Lewis Clark State College are at different stages of DEI development, with ISU having a smaller DEI presence and LCSC just beginning to build its DEI infrastructure. The report concludes that strong legislative action is necessary to redirect universities toward their core educational missions and away from discriminatory DEI efforts. This comprehensive analysis raises critical questions about DEI initiatives' costs, impact, and future direction in Idaho's public universities. Which it makes me laugh that we think that we can change the way our universities are headed through legislation, when clearly the legislation that we've already passed to try and curb where they're going hasn't worked. Just an observation.
Right. And I think that really comes to the nature of, the nature of the institutions, right? If the nature of that institution is that it is filled with people that truly want to educate, and part of educating is putting forth the truth and helping you to think and to discover the truth, right? There's some schools that I think do a great job of teaching truth, but I think the best schools get both of those marks, right? But then we're seeing this where I would argue the bones of a lot of these universities, and here again, I have friends that are in higher academia, we'll put it that way. I had that path open to me. I did not take it. But I do not begin to understand quite why this has just gripped the academia so bad, but these very far left-leaning ideologies have just seemed to entrench themselves, even in people that I've met that are very, very, very smart. And if you sit them down and you're talking about, like, I don't know, a debate about which system you should use for a rocket, right? Should you use a closed flow state combustion chamber or an open one? Or if you're sitting there and you're talking about history with them, right? They can go on and on and on and on, right? But you start getting into stuff like this, the socialists are like, nope, my body, my choice. There is a hierarchy of the oppressed and the oppressor groups, right? And you kind of just see that oozing out here that, yes, there's laws that have been told to stop them, but they are going to still act on their beliefs, which, coming full circle, I think that's a lesson that both we as conservatives and anyone in our life, right, take the good with the bad, should learn, that you should act on what you truly believe, and vice versa. Same here with these institutions. We should push back at them and say, no, you're acting with conviction, yes, but you have followed the letter of the law, not the spirit of the law here.
Yeah, you talk about why it is that intelligent people fall prey to socialist ideological thinking. And I think one of the reasons that people do that is that they've been entrenched in that ideology from people that they respect, their teachers, their professors, their classmates, the presidents of their universities. These people who are respectable people in respectable positions. These people are saying those things. And so it's really easy to start listening to those people and saying, well, those are the smart people that know things. I guess they're right.
Appeal to authority.
And then on top of that, it becomes an almost religious thing. And for some people, I would say almost religious. For a lot of people, I would say it is their religion. We as humans have an innate desire for religion. We have a need for God. Whatever that God is, we have a need for there to be a higher power in our lives, something to believe in, something to hold on to. And as everything else in our society seems to crumble away that people used to use as their God, you had actual religion that people had. That was a God. You had drug, sex, and rock and roll. That was a God. Well, all of these things are being stripped away. And young people are left with very few answers, I think, these days. One of them is the hyper-left, hyper-sexualized ideas, and DEI is just another part of that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally on that. And I think one of the things, hate him or love him, that I enjoy listening to, and I think it's a really great point that I first heard articulated by Jordan Peterson on this, is that the left does a really, really good job, and always has, of both giving you a community and putting forward a vision. And that is very powerful in the world that we exist today, where on a whole, the culture is crumbling at times, right? And so you don't have that community. The family's falling apart. The state's falling apart, right? Which we can get into the reasons of where along the chain it started the falling apart, right? And then the left comes in and says, hey, you think we're crazy, but hey, we've got a vision of what should happen. And we have a community of people, and we will irrationally protect you. And I can see where that has a certain level of appeal, especially in the day we exist. And so we that stand on what is right and say, and hopefully share with other people what is wrong, we need to come up with a robust definition of a vision and that community. I would argue for us on the right and conservatives, that should be rallying and making our communal foundation the church and the nuclear family, and having robust family and robust church lives. And then on that vision, not squabbling and bickering over the minute details, and sitting down there and saying, we have a vision of X country, right? Is it going to be everything that everyone wants? No, it's not. But have that vision and move forward with it. And the left has done that, and if we can't put a vision forward, we can't even do our job at counterbalancing the opposition. And you kind of see that there again in the cultural element with these schools, if we're going full circle. In any case, kind of getting off our soapboxes there, DEI has its things. I think generally, as a culture, as we've kind of both gone over, we need to present a vision and have that community for people. And right now, that is being provided more by DEI, and so you see it creeping in because we as humans need that. More than anything, we need the gospel. But in this situation, I think this shows, I guess, kind of sympathize or try to get in the mind of why they're fighting so hard for it when it's such, I would argue, a very divisive thing. But in any case, something to be aware of, especially if you're a person of any means that's listening, that is donating to colleges and stuff. You may want to start voting maybe a little bit with your funds. Now you might say, is there any college I can do that with? There is actually one up in northern Idaho. It's up there in Moscow. I cannot remember the name of it, but it is more of a classical type of college that teaches up there. So that might be something to look to send your money towards, or if you were thinking of, or voting with your dollar, vice versa, all those things. But definitely something to be aware of, and I wanted to share with you all.